Hello, it's Dory Duncan again, here with my second career presentation. My first one was about my interest in teaching parenting and marriage classes, and I decided that I would sort of follow that to a logical step up, which would be a counselor in those same situations, working with parents and working with children. So I looked far and wide, and I thought I really knew what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be, but there were so many different things that I could do. I was just kind of stymied for a minute, and finally I landed with the NARA, which is Native American Rehabilitation Association. And they have a job opening. They're looking for a mental health therapist for children and family. And they have a website, which is on here, and they have the information about what the job is. There wasn't a career contact, so I just skipped that piece. So I'm going to skip down to my common job tasks. So I would assess the people coming in, the children that were entering the child and family program. I would create files on them, assessing their needs and what they need. I would need to be able to figure out work with special needs and special treatments. I would have to provide play therapy for children. I'd have to provide classes for parents and for family as needed, couple sessions for marriage, lectures, psychoeducational lectures to clients as needed, which I think means whatever the problem is, I got to come up with a lecture for it. I'm going to consult. I have to cooperate with other mental health people that my clients might need to work with. I need to know what's available to them outside in the community. I've got to participate in mental health awareness. I'm going to participate in their activities. For example, on New Year's Eve, they have Celebrate a Sober New Year's Eve. So I would be expected to participate in that. I'd have to do a lot of note-taking, making sure everything's written down. I'd have to have charts that were perfect and participate in chart reviews. I would have to attend relevant trainings whenever possible. And at the very end, it says provide mental health on-call services. So I think basically to work at this nonprofit, you have to be a jack of all trades. It seems like a very wide umbrella, a very wide range of things that they're going to ask me to do. So if I take that into my stressors, I'll go back to the fact that it's a nonprofit organization. And when I was looking on the website, I was checking out all their different buildings, and the buildings seemed a little low rent, a little worn down, like they needed some attention. So I'm guessing that the job pay will not be, great. But if you're doing what you love, then that's okay. And if you're in a place where you can do that. And like I said before, the job requires a lot of responsibility. The job got a large, wide open, not really specific. It's very not the image I had in my head of a beautiful little office where I would walk in and people would come and I would have my couch and I would have children there and I have an adult, just the beautiful music playing. I don't know. It doesn't quite fit that, but it still seems like a really amazing opportunity. And then the other thing that I really would have to be careful about or be concerned about that would be a stress is that I would need to be aware of the fact that I'll be working with Native Americans and Alaska Natives. And so that's a cultural difference that I would need to be aware of and understand better. And since NARA represents over 200 tribes, like 266 tribes or something like that, that's a lot of cultural stuff I would need to be aware of. It'd be quite the list of stuff that I would have to be paying attention to. So as far as my work environment, their mission is to provide educational, physical, and mental health services and substance abuse treatment that's culturally appropriate for American Indians and Alaskan Natives. So one of the pieces that it talked about, well, I'll get to that later, but so they've been open for 46 years. They have serve over 5,000 clients a year. They have 8 different locations in Portland, just here in my area. And I was reading reviews, and it seems like they get really good reviews as an employer. Very family friendly, very open, very cooperative. The downside that I read about was that there's not a lot of room for advancement. So like that position's open, but maybe the positions above, not so much. Again, for me, not a big issue because I plan on, I just want to serve where I can serve. I'm not really concerned about a huge career path. I'm just concerned for the things that I can do for others, once I get to that place in my life where my kids are gone. So, but typical benefits, they say they offer a very generous package, 13 holidays, medical, dental, vacation, sick days, all of that stuff, 401k, but nowhere do they actually talk about the pay. So again, I wonder if there's a reason for that. So what I did is I went looking for other jobs along the same lines in the same area of Portland, and I found another nonprofit. And it was interesting because it talked about, in that nonprofit, hold on a second, they talked about, where are you? Oh, they added extra things. A lot of the job requirements seemed the same. So I thought, okay. And I kept reading. And then they added about working conditions, a whole section that seemed like this is in your face. You should know this. And it talked about that you'll have extended periods of time sitting at a workstation, that you've got to be able to stand, work, and drive throughout the day, that you've got to be able to pick up 20 pounds, that you could be exposed to communicable diseases found in children and in the public. And you have to have the ability to cope with clients who may use challenging or offensive language with potential for escalation to physical aggression. Oh, yeah. So I don't know what to think about that, but I think it's something that needs to be considered, and I'm really glad I found that. So their starting range was $38,000 a year, going all the way up to $58,000 a year. It just depends on your experience. So the educational requirements for this is a minimum of a QMHP. What is that? It's a qualified mental health professional. And did you know that you can have an A at the end of that, which means that you've trained to work with adults, or a C at the end, which means you've trained to work with children, or an E at the end, which means that you're eligible, that you're working to be eligible to be one of those two things. Didn't know that. Or a licensed clinical social worker, or a licensed professional counselor. And I think I'm leaning towards the professional counselor. You have to have 2 years of experience with children or the equivalent, and it mentions the alcohol and drug certification being a plus, which I think with the Native American community, I've heard that is, well, I used to be engaged to someone that was Native American, so I have actually a little bit of experience with that whole culture. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why this caught my eye, and it really caught my heartstrings. I'm just going to close by saying thank you for the opportunity to do this. When I was in Costco, 6 months ago, this lady came up I talk to people. It's what I do. I talk to people. And this lady was in line with me, and I mentioned that my son was going to medical school. And she asked me, she immediately gave me this pitch about having him go to NARA and get to work for them. And I just remember that so clearly. When I found this, I just thought that was a pretty interesting twist of fate. So I hope that you guys found something that was interesting to you like this was interesting to me. Sorry it was so long. Talk to you later. Bye.